Well, it's no secret that the South African fiscus is under pressure. On the one hand, the country is learning about how the national tax collector, that is SARS, was undermined in its work to collect tax to its full potential. And then on the other, the country is currently in recession, which naturally means more pressure in the government's ability to collect revenue. Our Parliament reporter, Manelisi Dubase, caught up with tax guru Judge Dennis Davis to get his views on how best South Africa can deal with these existing challenges. Let's take a listen.
If you look at the state of SARS, where we were previously and where we are right now, how would you describe the state of SARS right now?
Well, I think you could probably regard SARS as a big tanker which has begun to turn the circle towards calmer waters. And I think Mr. King and the acting commissioner and his colleagues have started to turn the ship quite significantly in the period now. It's definitely improving.
So is there any light at the end of the tunnel? I mean, we still have to recoup about 50 billion rand or so, which we have lost because of the shenanigans within SARS.
Well, I think the answer to that is simple. I think that SARS is not going to be able to do that in 1 year. Firstly, Mr. Kingan is only the acting commissioner, and we await the resolution of the position with regard to Mr. Moyani, and then the presumably appointment of a new commissioner of inland revenue. I mean, that's something I'd rather not talk about because I don't know what the outcome is, but let's assume that that happens. I would imagine that probably it'll take another 12 months, maybe slightly longer, to get SARS back, and that also to where it was, and that also depends on the ability of the new commissioner to attract in some of the really good people that we lost during this latter period.
But at the same time, I mean, we need a stimulus now to stimulate the economy. Where do you get that?
Well, that's a different matter. Look, I think we probably will get better collection than we had previously, because I don't think we could get worse, to be blunt. And I think that clearly it's improved. But I think we're going to have to think about attractive and imaginative new schemes to raise further funds. I know that the President said, and correctly so, that much of this is going to be through restructuring of the expenditure side. But that may be difficult in the short term because commitments have already been made. So I do think in the short term we're going to have to think through imaginative schemes to raise some further money for capital expenditure, which is what the stimulus is all about.
Do you have any suggestion?
Yes, well, as I indicated to the press club, I think we're going to have to start thinking along the lines of whether we shouldn't have some additional taxation, perhaps on higher net worth individuals, perhaps on corporates. I know that the suggestion has been made that, for example, if you took 1% of the capitalization of the top 100 companies at the JSE and you put that into a ring-fenced fund, which would be staffed by people who really everybody could say the money will definitely go to the poor for reconstruction of schools, roads, etc. I think we may be able to raise some significant sums of money there, and that would tie us over until such time as we could get one, SARS right, and two, start a growth cycle which will increase growth.
You talk about, taxing the top earners. I mean, are you referring to wealth tax?
Well, wealth tax is a problematic issue because of the fact that statistics show, if you look at other countries in the world, it doesn't bring in a hell of a lot of money. But we may have to think through what would a short-run wealth tax be. Call it what you like. Call it a reconstruction fund, which is based on the taxation of wealth. Somewhere along the line, we've got to raise some additional money to ensure that our society is reconstructed. We have lost too much in this regard.
The 1% we are talking about in terms of these top 100 companies, how much will it yield?
Well, I speak to subject to correction, but I know this is a suggestion which was made by the erstwhile editor of the Business Day, Peter Bruce, who suggested that if you did that, you could get quite a number of 100 billion rands in the kitty. I haven't done the calculations, though he has. I think this is one of a menu of options which we should canvass and think about, because I think that the central theme is we're all in this boat together, and quite frankly we can't just simply chuck poor people out of the boat and sail on and think we can get to our destination. We can't. And so we've got to ensure that our society takes care of the poorest of the poor. That's our first constitutional imperative, and we aren't doing enough about that.